Man, so Bitcoin could be hours away from a critical break from a pattern. It was at one point spelling huge danger for Bitcoin. Can this breakout actually materialize? I'm going to show you the key levels, how to play this move, but also the few things we must watch out for to not get caught up in this move. We were in this descending triangle pattern, which is a bearish continuation pattern, expected more likely to break to the downside. But as you can see, Bitcoin is facing some strong momentum here at the top, trying to break out. I'm going to share my exact price targets. I'm also going to show you what's happening in traditional markets. So smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, check out the links in the description. If you want to play this move or buy any other cryptocurrencies, you can do so using Bybit or BitGet. Links in the description. Claim your bonuses. BitGet also offering a bonus just for signing up. Even if you don't deposit, you get free money, so take advantage of that. What I want to show you here is really important. We've got the US markets opening up here in the green, but not just in the green, powerfully in the green here on the pre-market. 2.43% on the NASDAQ, 2.2% on the S&P, and over 2% on the Dow. So markets are looking for another positive day today. You've had Bank of America beat earnings, BNY Mellon beat earnings, Johnson & Johnson beat earnings. I have seen the Goldman Sachs CEO come out and say there could be a recession. That was the one negative, but markets are focused on getting a bit of a relief rally. Now, do I think this is our final big move back up to all-time highs? No, but I think there is a huge relief rally which we can take advantage of and we can trade. I'm also in the market so that if this relief rally turns into the next market run, what we can see here is we are forming this descending triangle. Now, what was interesting was this is the same pattern that was forming back in 2018. I shared that with you. But what we're seeing here is we're coming now up towards the top, the resistance line. If we can break out, okay, if we can break out, I want to see huge volume and I want to see a green candle above this line. You're starting to see now the daily candle today is starting to break that level. Let me zoom in there for you guys. You can see that we're just getting that green candle above there. But what I am seeing is that the volume is very poor. Look at this volume where my cursor is. Very poor volume. So I want to see more volume. I want to see a confirmation candle. And if we can get that, then what we are forming is this W pattern, a nice W pattern here. As you can see, if we can work to that first pivot point where my cursor is now, then we can get a nice move up to here, which is our first pivot point, this point here at around 22,400. That is what we're looking at for here on this move. But if that move starts to play out, this trade can be very interesting because this trade can take you up to 24,500 and then beyond. Remember, we got this huge gap to fill where we fell so drastically. So that can bring us back to the levels around 30,000. Now, why is that an important level? Well, if I switch up to the weekly chart, on the weekly chart, and I just showed you this small W pattern, right? That yellow line there. Well, let's go ahead and remove that. We're actually forming an even bigger W pattern. So if we can break out from the small W, which I shared with you, and that can fulfill the bigger W, this move can take us up all the way to that 30,000 level. And look why that's interesting. If I bring out the EMA ribbon, that brings you into our EMA ribbon. So once we do start getting into our EMA ribbon, which starts between 23,000, but really the middle of the EMA ribbon is around that 26,000 level, resistance will start coming in. And we've seen that the bears have been stepping up to push us back quite strongly here. So that is what I'm looking at in terms of our bullish case. Now, I do not want to forget the bearish case. Okay, very important that we focus here because who has the trend right now? The bears do have the trend. And I do understand this is now my third positive day in a row here, which we're trying to close here on Bitcoin, but we can get rejected from here. Remember this candle here? Just 5 days ago, we tried to break out and we wicked straight back down. So over eager longs got liquidated and we got thrown back into our pattern. So don't let the same happen here. Don't let this candle close red and you got liquidated because you were overzealous to get into the position. Wait for a clean breakout. Even wait for the next candle thereafter. Make sure the volume is there. And then you can look at entering kinds of trades, okay? Okay, so that's what we're seeing. We also need to take a clean check of the dollar index. Important that we understand that the reason we're seeing this momentum on Bitcoin over the last few days is because the dollar index is having a period of downturn. It's having a little bit of rejection here, as you can see. It managed to work its way up to about here and then got sent back down. Now, this is really interesting because now it's coming into its EMA ribbon. So we want to see, can the bulls of Bitcoin start forcing the dollar index? In other words, this is the risk-off mentality. Can we force the risk-off mentality to go deeply into its EMA ribbon? Similarly to how we did here. But you have to give the benefit of the doubt to dollar index. Most likely, it's going to bounce. I don't turn super bullish until we lose our EMA ribbon here, which is at around 110 level on the dollar index. But this is a good sign. And the reason we are seeing the dollar index show weakness, we spoke about this yesterday, is the GBP has been doing a lot better recently, okay? It's done a lot better because the new chancellor's come in and reversed a bunch of the tax cuts that the previous chancellor who got fired put in place. And that is what spooked markets in terms of what's going on in the UK. So that's a big step from the UK in terms of what they were able to do. But again, the GBP is running into resistance on its EMA ribbon. So loads of things right now are hugely in the balance, and we need to watch out. We need to watch out. We need to monitor the charts. If we can break from this pattern, going to be a nice big move here on Bitcoin. But again, remember, if you're long in this move, you're doing so into the strength of the bear. So you've got to be very keen with your take profits, with your stop losses. You were swimming against the tide, right? Very, very important. Now, another way to look at this is we were looking at this as the breakdown, our first triangle, which we had, right? So we had this ascending triangle. We broke to the downside. And now what we're doing is this is the W we were forming. We're creating this double bottom pattern, but expect there to be resistance from here. Okay, so it can work its way back up to the yellow trend line, but I'm expecting some resistance to come in around the 20,000 level mark. So do not be surprised to see if we see some resistance. If we can break through this level, then things get exciting. Then I'm expecting a nice big move up to 22,000, and then we're on for the bigger W pattern, which I shared with you on the weekly chart. So that's what I'm looking at for the bull case. The bear case is if we get rejected here and then get thrown back down to 18,700. But for now, this is pretty decent. We've got a low there. We've got a higher low. We managed to turn quicker this time, right? We didn't go all the way down here. So that's quite good here in terms of candle closes. But if you include this wick, which was from the CPI data, then we formed a lower low, okay? Which would make you think that the bears are in control. So all is to play for in posting a higher high. This is going to come down to, can Bitcoin get past that level there and create a higher high, and then you reverse the trend. So a lot going on now in terms of the Bitcoin chart. Few interesting things I have to mention. I forgot to mention this. I did tweet it out, but I didn't mention it in the video yesterday. And that is that the FASB votes for fair value crypto fix. Now, this is very important. I've seen a lot of people gloss over the importance of this, but it's really, really important. This is something that Michael Saylor and many corporate advocates have been lobbying for a very long time. Let me explain very quickly what it is. So up to this point, if a company wanted, like Tesla, wanted to have Bitcoin on its balance sheet, you could have it on your balance sheet. But if Bitcoin went up in price, you were not able to reflect that on your balance sheet. You could only show the entry point. If, however, Bitcoin went down in value, which we have been during a bear market, you must mark that to market. This was completely unfair. It meant that many companies did not want Bitcoin exposure because even if it tripled in value, it didn't make any gain to your balance sheet and therefore earnings, and people weren't feeling super bullish about your stock. But if it went down, you have to show a huge impairment, which is not great. So this is really going to help get a whole bunch of new corporate CEOs interested into the possibility of holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So huge news there. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention is Aptos. Now, I've purposely not spoken about this project because I don't want people to ape into this project before we've seen it actually get launched. So this is a layer 1 blockchain built by ex-Meta employees, and they've just launched yesterday, but they're having a hugely difficult time, and their transactions per second are sitting at about 4. Okay, now they're supposed to theoretically get up to 160,000. They want it to be a Solana killer, right? But they're sitting at 4. Now, their rebuttal is that, oh, no, we're still in early days, therefore nobody's using the network. It will pick up. Don't worry about it. But guys, be very, very careful with this. Also, I tweeted out, very important, a tweet from Woo Blockchain, which said Aptos asked major exchanges not to list perpetual contracts within 2 weeks, but Binance announced that APT USD perpetual contracts will be listed October the 19th. That's tomorrow. In other words, people can now start shorting. So Lefty, one of our community members here, says, can you break down like I'm a 5 why they wouldn't want to release on exchanges? Well, because shorting a new project to the ground before it gets a chance to incubate. So this is the problem here, okay? So if you've got a layer 1 blockchain which is trying to launch, still trying to figure their way out, and you've got a whole bunch of people now shorting it, particularly after some, negative news is spreading on Twitter around the transactions per second, that can be difficult for them to recover from. So be very, very careful if you're playing around with that project. Okay, bunch of interesting data coming out this week. We've got Fed officials speaking all week, right? So we've got Tuesday today, Kashkari. On Wednesday, you've got Bullard. Playing that forward later on in the week, you've then got Jefferson, Cook, Bowman, and Williams. So basically, every single day, you've got a Fed member speaking. But more importantly, I want to focus on earnings. We've just had Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson beat. Later after the close, we've got Netflix. Tomorrow, we've got Tesla, IBM, the NASDAQ. Huge earnings week. And this is what's going to set the tone. Because if companies can shrug this off and say, you know what, we're doing just fine. we're not feeling a recession here. Things are looking good. Earnings are looking good. People are still buying. Then this could be good for the markets, and the markets could look for some short-term relief rally. And that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing some positivity to make up for such a weak start to October. Interesting to take a quick look at the Fed rate monitor tool, and that is pricing in 98% chance of a 75 basis points. So that's not changed. The market is saying, okay, we're going to get 75 basis points, but even given that, we know that company earnings are doing well, and this is something we can get used to. That is what the markets are saying right now. So loads to play for here on the Bitcoin chart. I'm waiting eagerly to see if we can get that clean breakout from here. Okay, that is what I'm looking for right now, and I'll be monitoring that. If you guys want more regular updates, you can check my Twitter. Make sure you're involved in our Telegram group as well. Links all in the description for our Discord, Telegram. It's all free, so definitely go check that out. Something else that is free is our free Skillshare course. I put my TA course for free on Skillshare, just so you guys can go watch it and actually absorb what's in there. Guys, this would be thousands of dollars per person to use this course if this was anybody else. I've put it out there for free for you guys, so you can take advantage of the knowledge. So if you don't know what an EMA ribbon is, if you don't know what Fibonacci retracements are, if you don't know what these patterns are, which we're explaining to you, please don't delay this. You go into the next bull market not knowing these things. You've only got one person to blame. It's there, all for free. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Go watch my other video here, and I'll see you in the next one.